Hey, what up everyone? I'm Sinnycool, and this is Gems of War. And today we have a treasure hunt for ya. I got two vaults, so I want to submit this to speedrun.com as a better run than the one I have up there. I have second place on the speedrun.com leaderboard for Gems of War treasure hunt 2 vaults. So I want to submit this one, so I'm going to go ahead and just kill two birds with one stone and make a video out of it. Also, this is one of your campaign tasks this week. I'm sure a lot of you are going to skip it, but I recommend that you do not. Just learn how to do these and get it done. Just bite the bullet. It takes around 15 minutes or less. Probably between 10 and 15 minutes. It depends how you play it. If you just play it to where you want to... Well, you have to get a certain amount of turns, so I guess you can't just play it the way that you would play a normal treasure hunt if you're just trying to use your maps up. So, yeah, it's going to take between 10 and 15 minutes. For me, it took 14 minutes and 10 seconds to get 2 vaults. So I probably could have stopped right when I got to 60 turns or whatever they ask you to do. And it could have went a little bit quicker. That's why I say somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes to get this done. But, yeah, you got to weigh the cost versus the time. Like, I can't remember what task this was under. I could probably go look. So it was just a bronze task or a copper task or whatever they're called. So it probably cost only 50 gems to skip, but that's 50 gems for 10 minutes of your time, 15 minutes of your time. I don't think I would do that, but at least it's only a bronze or a copper, so I can't blame you if you just hate treasure hunt minigame and you see it and it makes you mad and you gotta skip it. But that's 50 gems. You might as well say, by doing the treasure hunt, you're gaining 50 gems. If you're gonna skip it, you might as well say you're getting 50 gems for completing it. So think of it that way, maybe. Instead of skipping it and losing 50 gems, you're gonna play it and save 50 gems. So in your head, you gotta make it to where, okay, I'm gonna play this treasure hunt and get 50 gems. I know you don't get 50 more, but you save 50, and that's part of gem farming. I have a whole video on gem farming, and it's like quote unquote gem farming because you can't really farm gems, but treasure hunt minigame is one of the ways that you can actually. That is literally a way to farm the gems is in treasure hunt minigame, but other ways that aren't are like your tribute, and then I did like top 3 tips to saving gem or to farming gems, and one of them was saving gems. I almost gave it away right there. But yeah, don't waste your gems on stupid stuff like skipping tasks and opening chests and buying weird stuff with your gems. That's one way to gem farm, quote unquote, is to not waste them. That way, just think of it as you gain 50 gems instead of that you're skipping the treasure hunt. Anyway, off of that tangent. Tips for playing this game. I've done 2 or 3 of these videos before, maybe even 4 or 5. But I feel like with the 2 vaults in this one, maybe it'll get more eyes on it, and I can help some more people out. So tips on getting 2 vaults is just to play the game well, get as many turns as you can, and hope that you get 2 vaults. There's no way to, like, at the beginning of a treasure hunt, to strategize getting 2 vaults. It's just playing the game well and following normal good practices at playing this game, and you could get 2 vaults. So my tips are obviously anytime you have a 4 match, take it. Anytime you have a 5 match, take it. Always wait to see what the recommended match is. So that's what kind of slows this game mode down a little bit, is you're always going to wait for the recommended match, you almost always want to wait for it, because what if it shows you a 5 match that you didn't see? You don't want to go ahead and match that 4 match as soon as you see it, because what if there's a 5 match you didn't see? You don't want to rush and match a 4 match when there's a 5 match up in the right hand corner when you're down in the left hand corner looking at a 4 match, you know? But 5 matches are king because they actually give you an extra turn. So your main priority is 5 matches and up. I guess, yeah, 5 matches. Like, you can't get a 6 match, I don't think. But yeah, 5 matches and up. 5 matches are your main priority. If you can't get a 5 match, 4 matches are fine. They keep you at the same number of turns. They don't give you an extra turn. So that's that's the first thing that people get mistaken. They think whenever they get an extra turn, they're getting whenever they get a 4 or 5 match, they're getting an extra turn, but that's not true. You only get an extra turn on a 5 match. You do not get an extra turn on a 4 match. Well, you kind of do, but you don't get a additional extra turn. You only get to keep the turn you're on. So you match 4, you stay on the turn you're on. You don't get like another turn. But if you match 5, you stay on the turn you're on, and you get another turn. You go up 1. You gain 1. So always look for the 5 match instead of the 4 match. But if there's no 5 matches, then 4 matches are good as well, because they keep you where you're at, and then hopefully by matching the 4 match, maybe you'll find a 5 match or another 4 match. Other than that, those obvious tips there, you gotta remember this game is played differently than the main game. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because this game is good to play in the like early in Gems of War, but it's also completely different than the main game, so it kind of doesn't help you with the main game at all. But it also doesn't give you experience, and it gives you resources, so it helps you in a way to where you're not leveling up and making the game harder while you're farming resources. So it's like it's good to play early in the game, but it's also bad to play early in the game because you're not exactly practicing the main game, and it's kind of giving you weird bad habits, because the way you match in Treasure Hunt is not the same way as you match in the main game, and it's a completely different game. As long as you can think of it as a completely different game, it has nothing to do with the main game. Any way you play the Treasure Hunt is not going to help you play the main game. You get resources that'll help you play in the main game, but the way you play the board, it has nothing to do with the way you play Gems of War, and it kind of is a double-edged sword, like I said, because most people that are playing Treasure Hunt are playing it early in the game, so they barely know how to play the main game as it is. Then they're confusing themselves by playing Treasure Hunt, and when they match in Treasure Hunt, it replaces, and there's no troops, and stuff like that, and you get like turns and stuff. Like, it's completely different than the main game, so you're not even practicing the main game. But it's still good to play as a new player. But like, whatever. It's good and bad. You're kind of wasting time. You're not getting experience. You're not getting class experience. You're not progressing kingdoms. You're not, getting troops. You're not using troops, learning how to use troops. You're not doing any of that. All you're getting is resources to help you in the main game. And you're not learning how to play. You're not, there's no troop. Like I said, a million reasons why it's not a good look in the early game, but it also is a good look in the early game. It's like once you learn how to play the main game, that's probably the best time to play Treasure Hunt, because it won't confuse you then. So I'm thinking, like, what if somebody was brand new to this game? They're trying to learn the main game, and there's troops, and there's traits, and there's storms, and there's spells, and the way that you match, they completely disappear and cascade, and there's no turns and all that stuff. And then they go over to this Treasure Hunt, and they're like, well, this is completely different. When I match, it replaces. There's some weird turn mechanic. There's no troops. There's no storms. There's no traits. Like, I could see a person getting confused, especially with the way that when you match gems, it replaces instead of just disappearing. So you got to keep that in mind when you're playing Treasure Hunt minigame as well, when you're trying to get 2 vaults, when you're trying to get 60 turns or whatever. Keep in mind that when you match, it replaces. It does not just disappear and cascade. So when I match this box here, or this bag, it made a box. It didn't disappear and then cascade. It made a box in that slot. So whatever coin or treasure that you move and match, that's the spot that's going to change. So you got to remember that, because what if you move a copper into a new spot, match it, it's going to change into a silver. So you got to remember, okay, now I'm going to have a silver there. So if I can set it up to where I get a 4 match or a 5 match by moving a copper and turning it into a silver, or like the two, when you do a 3 match, you move the middle one. You know, the 2 side ones are going to disappear, but the middle one's not. Whatever one you move disappears, or whatever one you move changes into the next rarity, but the other ones in that match disappear, and they still cascade. So you got to remember both of those things. Like if I move this copper here, I'm trying to show an example on the board, but I already played this, and I'm like commentating after the fact, so I'm not catching when I do what. So moving this copper, it's going to turn it into a silver, and then it's going to match silver too. So if I do that, I don't know, I'm probably thinking about it. You got to look ahead, you got to think ahead, what's going to happen if I do this? So I moved that, it turned it into a silver. The 2 ones that I didn't move cascaded, and the one that I did move turned into a silver and stayed right there. And nothing cascaded. So, anyway, another tip would be to make sure you get all the lowest rarity coins out of the bottom of the board. If you have no 4 match or 5 match and there's nothing really to do and you can't figure out any way to cascade into an extra turn or something, so you have no good turns, like you're like, oh well, I don't have any cascades, I can't do anything here, I don't have a 4 match, I don't have a 5 match, all I can do is match 3. Which one should I do? The lowest rarity, the lowest on the board, is your highest priority. So if you have no 4 matches, no 5 matches, no way to match something in cascade or replace and turn it and make into a 4 or 5 match or whatever, there's none of that, and you've looked and looked and looked, then the best thing you can do is match a copper as far down on the board as you can. And if you get towards the top of the board and all you have is like a really high copper, like that one up there that I got, then I would go low on the board and match a silver. You want to try to get all the silver and all the copper out of the bottom half of the board. That's how you get vaults. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest tip for getting vaults, is match as much copper and silver and even gold as you can in that bottom half of the board. Because the more coppers you get stuck way down there, like the ones I have down in the bottom right corner there, I'm never going to be able to match those. The only way I'd be able to match those out of there is if I can somehow get that closest copper there by the 2 green chests, somehow match that over one, and then match it down. Then I'm going to have silver way down there. Or at least 1 silver way down there. So, if it's a choice between 2 different coppers, whatever one's the lowest, you want to match. So, if you could take it like horizontally or vertically, and there's like 2 down vertical or 2 to the right horizontal, always match the 2 down vertical. You want to get rid of the lowest copper as you can. That's the biggest tip I got for getting vaults, which I've done 2 vaults twice now. This is the second time. 14 minutes and 10 seconds. My old record was 19 minutes and 48 seconds. I don't even know if I tracked that right either, so whatever. That was 3 years ago, and I just put it up on speedrun.com because I knew I had it, as I had it recorded. And there was only one guy on there. He somehow got 2 vaults in 2 minutes and 43 seconds. I'm going to have to watch that. That is super fast. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, my biggest tip is just get rid of as much copper out of the bottom of the screen as you can. Like, split that screen in half. If there's any copper below it, match it. If there's any silver below it, match it. You know. But your main priority, obviously, is 5 matches. Second priority, 4 matches. Third priority, figure out how to cascade or replace, transform to the next rarity, to get a 4 or 5 match. That's your third priority. Your fourth priority, if you can do none of that, is matching the lowest rarity, the lowest on the board. But you can see there, Treasure Hunter got it done. 2 vaults got it done. We got gem keys for those vaults, so it's not very good rewards, and it's not a very fun game, so I can understand why you would skip it, but you're saving 50 gems if you don't, and I just gave you tips on how to play it. So please like, share, subscribe. consider joining. It helps a lot. Tell your guild about the channel and have them subscribe. And I'll see y'all tomorrow for the class event or Final Fantasy VII Remake later. Peace.